Jaya Radha, Nila Madhav Radha, Nila Madhav Radhe. Jaya Radha, Nila Madhav Radha, Nila Madhav Radhe. Jaya Radha, Nila Madhav Radha, Nila Madhav Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivagacharya Astotara Shishimat His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Tamal Krishna Goswami Namane Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Desa Tarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasya Praishu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Samambonam, Chapter 87, the Prayers of the Personified Vedas, Text 3. Sa esha hi Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajai Drita Shraddhaya Dharayed Yaha Tam Shemam Gached Akinchanaha Saishahi Upanishad Brahmi Saishahi Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajair Drita Purvesham Purvajair Drita Shraddhaya dharayedhyastam Shraddhaya dharayedhyastam Shemam gacchara kinchanaha Shemam gacchara kinchanaha Saishahi Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajaydrita Shraddhaya dharayedhyastam Shemam gacchara kinchanaha Saya Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajaydrita Shemam gacchara kinchanaha Saishahi Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajaydrita Shraddhaya dharayedhyastam Shemam gacchara kinchanaha Saishahi Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajaydrita Shraddhaya dharayedhyastam Shemam gacchera kinchana Saishahi Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajaydrita Shraddhaya dharayedhyastam Shemam gacchara kinchana. Mothers. Saishahi Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajaydrita Shraddhaya dharayedhyastam Shemam gacchara kinchanaha Saishahi Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajaydrita Shraddhaya dharayedhyastam Shemam gacchara kinchanaha Saishahi Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajaydrita Shraddhaya dharayedhyastam Shemam gacchara kinchanaha Sa esha this same he indeed Upanishad confidential spiritual doctrine Brahmi related to the absolute truth Purvesham of our predecessors such as Narada Purvajayi by the predecessors such as Shanaka Drita meditated upon Shraddhaya with faith Dharayed meditates Yaha whoever Tam upon it Shemam ultimate success Gachet will attain akinchanaha, free from material connection. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Those who came before, even our ancient predecessors, meditated upon this same confidential knowledge of the Absolute Truth. Indeed, anyone who faithfully concentrates on this knowledge will become free from material attachments and attain the final goal of life. Please repeat. Those who came before, even our ancient predecessors, meditated upon this same confidential knowledge of the Absolute Truth. Indeed, anyone who faithfully concentrates on this knowledge will become free from material attachments and attain the final goal of life. Jai, we can all go back. Purport. This confidential knowledge concerning the Absolute Truth should not be doubted, since it has been passed down through authoritative lines of learned sages from time immemorial. One who cultivates the science of the Supreme with reverence, avoiding the distractions of fruitive rituals and mental speculation, will learn to give up the false designations of the material body and mundane society, and thus he will become eligible for perfection. In the opinion of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the first two verses of this chapter can be considered an Upanishad on the topic of Brahman. Shukadev Goswami here disclaims authorship on the grounds that this Upanishad was spoken previously by Narada Muni, who himself heard it from Sanaka Kumara. Om Ajnanatamrandasya Jananjana Shalaka Chakshu Sanmalitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Nama Mukam Karati Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yakripatamam Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madham Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Vadodaya Pushpavanta Chitra Sandho Tamonuda Saishahi Upanishad Brahmi Purvesham Purvajay Dhrita Shraddhaya Dharayedyastam Shemam Gachyara Kinchanaha. Those who came before, even our ancient predecessors, meditated upon this same confidential knowledge of the Absolute Truth. Indeed, anyone who faithfully concentrates on this knowledge will become free from material attachments and attain the final goal of life. So then the question is, what is this same confidential knowledge? It's the two previous verses discusses that. Practically it's what, who's asking the question? Yes, Parikshit Maharaj is asking the question. And what was his question? Yeah. So the Lord is impersonal in the form of Brahman. How is the Vedas glorifying something that cannot be perceived? We can't perceive Brahman. Brahman is impersonal. So he's asking that question. And so then Shukadev Goswami says, indeed, anyone who faithfully concentrates on this knowledge, how is this done? Who's this Brahman? How is Brahman described? So then, of course, Shukadev Goswami, he quotes two verses, verses 2 and 3. No, one. These two verses that was asked, and he quotes the second verse. These two statements, according to our acharyas, are actually like the quoted verses from the Vedas. The Vedas are written in terse language, or rather we can say Vedic Sanskrit. Okay? Vedic Sanskrit is not common Sanskrit or spoken Sanskrit or Lokika Sanskrit, which is easily understandable or grasped, even then most of us don't know Sanskrit. But the Vedic Sanskrit is even more codified. So from one statement, they can understand many things. They can unpack it. Sometimes you have a gift, you can look at the gift and speculate what it is. But unless you open the package, you really don't know what's inside. But someone with knowledge about the gift, they can give you clues to what's in the gift or what is wrapped in the gift. So in the same way, we see that when Sukadeva Goswami answers, he's indirectly answering, not directly telling him. And the reason he says is because all of us actually cannot understand Brahman. It's not possible to understand Brahman. We don't have the purity. We don't have we don't have the senses. We don't have the purified senses. We are given senses. Why? So that we can perceive something and understand, and then we can go about comparing things. He did not create these senses for us so that we can just use it for our sense gratification. Rather, these senses, the mind, the intelligence, even the sound, touch, form, all this would be indefinable if we don't have these senses, right? If we are blind and deaf, can we then understand what the sounds are? Can we understand what forms are? So then for persons who are blind and deaf, for them it's inconceivable what is a form. It's inconceivable what is a sound. So in the same way, Sukadeva Goswami is not directly talking about the Brahman, but he is giving it indirectly. So this indirect process is the way that it is compared. For example, the eyes of the Lord is lotus-like. Right? What does it mean? It appears to be like a petal of the lotus. So we look at that and then we think, oh, the eyes of the Lord is like that. And then his yellow dhoti is like lightning. So then we remember this lightning. So we are trying to visualize and meditate on him. So that is considered favorable, actually. Remember that in our practice of devotional activities, there are favorable activities and unfavorable activities. So favorable activities actually allow us to come closer to reality. And this reality is Sri Krishna, the absolute person. Vadanti tat tattva vidam tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabdeti. Learned transcendentalists, they understand that the Supreme Personality has three features. The feature that most people know is the Brahman feature, which is the impersonal aspect of him. He is absolute. The absolute truth is made up of all this. And he is the person himself, as Bhagavan form. But to approach him is not easy. It's not possible because he is in the spiritual realm and we are in the material realm. How do we connect with that? So the Vedas open this realm of spirituality through terse languages. But to understand this is difficult for us. Even reading the Bhagavatam is not easy for us. We're not able to understand, not even able to conceive. So finally, in the previous verse, towards the end, and Prana very nicely explained yesterday, that the only way you can understand the Lord is by the Lord's mercy. So he He emphatically makes this point in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Devi Esha Gunamaya Mamamaya Duratya Mamevayi Prabhadanti Mayamitam Tarantite. You cannot overcome this material energy. Not possible. It is impossible. First we have to understand we are actually captured by this material energy, and it is not possible for us to understand the Supreme Lord because we are covered by the three modes of material energy. So they are known as guna. Gunas are like ropes. They bind us to this material world. And with the senses, the Lord, He Himself created us these senses twofold. One is to enjoy the material world. The second one is to actually get out of it. Using the senses, you get out of it. But how do you do that? Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. Using the faculties, one need to connect with the Supreme Lord. And what does it entail? It entails devotional service, actually. Now, in the beginning, we don't love the Lord. Anyway, most of us are not really at that stage of saying, I do love. But the knowledge from the scriptures, the Vedas and so on, enable us to understand there's a person who is actually loving us more than we can love him. Right? Just like the parent will love the child more than the child will actually show affection to the parent. So in the same way, the Supreme Lord loves His creation, or you can say every one of us, all the living entities, He just loves us. And what is that love? The love that He has for us is that He wants to be with us. But the problem is, we don't want to be with Him. And we can see that in our own activities. We are using our senses, our mind, our intellect, our words for our own enjoyment. In activities that we do not include the Lord in our activities on a day-to-day basis, right? When we get up in the morning, do we think, oh Lord, thank you for everything? That is a practice we have to inculcate. That's a yoga process. When you wake up, the first thing you do is to give thanks to the Supreme Lord for giving you another day of opportunity to approach Him. It's imperative to understand that. Then it creates the faith, Shraddha, as is described here. The word Shraddhaya, with faith. What can you do with faith? Dhritta, you can then meditate. And who can you meditate on? You are meant to meditate on the Supreme Person. Obviously, you cannot meditate on something that is impersonal. So then what is it that I'm meditating on? I have to meditate on that which is the absolute truth, which is described as a confidential message in the scriptures. So you find the Vedas do not directly describe the Lord. They indirectly describe the Lord. Because we don't have the capacity to understand the Lord in our conditioned state. But through the process of devotional activities, it is unraveled in our hearts. What does it mean? It means we accept. This is an increase in faith. We accept that He is existing. He has consciousness. He is able to relate with me. He's a person, ultimately. It is difficult at the beginning stages, but it is there. He's the Lord. He is indescribable, actually, but then through devotion, He becomes describable. So therefore, you find within the pages of the Bhagavatam, the praise of different personalities, from the very beginning, Kunti, Bhishmadev, all the way, Gajendra and so on. They are description of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is not actually easily describable. Just like Prana was saying, how do you know what the color is of the Lord? Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also says that it's not the color you think you know. But the color of blue makes us think and meditate on the Lord. And in so doing, it says, indeed, anyone who faithfully concentrates on this knowledge will become free from the material attachments. So therefore, we need to increase this faith that we have. It is fledgling for most of us, but it needs to be awakened into a state of strong determination in, I want to have this relationship, this active relationship with the Lord. How do we know there's an active relationship? The Bhagavatam reveals in the 10th canto. We see how the Lord relates to each devotee he is dear to. We just read, right, in the previous chapter, Shruta Deva and Bahulashva. Amazing. The Lord ran to see them at the speed of the wind. Thank you. Yeah. So you appreciate the Lord. He wants to see me. So there's an awakening of realization that He loves us. So it goes back to the beginning when I said, the Lord really loves us. How do I love thee? Right? Elizabeth Barrett Browning, let me count the ways. Right? So we have to know how to love the Lord. So the process is what Srila Prabhupada has given us very nicely. He says, do this sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is an awakening process. It's an awakening process that digs into our heart, where our attachment is to the material existence. The sadhana bhakti is like the crowbars and all the sharp utensils where you scrape our attachment. We cut away our links. All these chains and anchors that we have, with our family members, the kinsmen, the country of birth, the properties we have, the material signs we believe in, and the rituals that we think will save us from this. All these 5 chains that holds us, attachment to the body also, all this holds us back. So the sadhana bhakti process cuts us from these anchors and enables us to realize, I am not of this world, I am not of this nature. I am divinity trapped in here. So Krishna makes it also clear. How do you know your divinity? Mamaivangsha jiva loka, jiva bhuta sanatana. He says all these living entities are my expansions, angsas. So therefore, we eternally exist. Never was a time when I did not exist, not you, nor all these kings, O Arjuna. The 2nd chapter. Na tu evaham jatunasam na tuem janadipaha. He says, he makes it very clear that we are eternal beings, we are part and parcel of the Supreme, and part and parcel means we exist in the greatest, most optimum position is when we are with the Supreme Lord. That is what part and parcel means. If you take away the part from the parcel, then it has no meaning sometimes. For example, if you were to fix your car engine, you take out all the engine, right? People like to do that, They open up the engine and clean and everything, and then they assemble everything. And then finally they find they have a screw left over, right? Right? And then the screw, where does it go? All right, we don't need it, So you think it doesn't work, but actually it probably plays a very important role in the engine. And together with the engine in tandem, they hum and purr beautifully, and they can cruise in the highway. But without that screw, it may rattle and make some noise, and then the engine will break down faster than you anticipate. So it is not the perfection. So similarly, the living entity's perfection is when he is in tandem with the Supreme Lord's desire. When he can appreciate what the Lord wants, I can provide that. I can feed the Lord what He wants from me. I'm uniquely qualified to do that. This is all awakened in the process of sadhana bhakti. Now, one can say, I've been doing it for so long, but I'm still not relishing some of these things. Yes, because you're not taking in the mercy. Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu, right? So we sing every morning, Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu, right? Ocean of mercy, my spiritual master. But what am I doing to receive this ocean of mercy? Srila Prabhupada said to his disciple, I have already given you the mercy. In the same way, in the disciplic succession, our spiritual master has already given us the mercy to all of us. The only thing is, you must be the proper recipient or receptacle to receive the mercy. And what does it mean? What does it entail? That means, are you doing the things your spiritual master wants of you? Are you doing the things that Krishna wants of you? Are you doing it for the right reasons? What are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for? Questions should arise in our consciousness. Why am I doing this? Why am I even existing? I can't connect with Krishna. Do I deserve to live? Smash my head against the wall. Right? So you find that such sentiments are exhibited by the pure devotees of Krishna, because they don't seem, or rather they connect with Krishna very nicely, but they don't seem to be happy. Rather they are always crying, because they actually exhibit what we should be going through. They are setting examples of how we should be hankering to be connecting with Krishna. But most of us, we are trapped in this web of material lifestyle. My family, you can ask most devotees, whenever their family comes from India, they will stop all devotional practice. I have to take care of my family member. There's a song in the 60s, blood is thicker than water. Like that. So that means you abandon, right, everything just to take care. Oh, my family. Oh, but there's a Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja. No, but I have to take care of my family member. Oh, my daughter just came back from California. My son just came back from Washington. Why didn't you bring them along? No, I have to spend time with them. So what does it mean again? It means we don't have sufficient faith. Shraddhaya, it is true faith. The faith is not built up. And in wanting to take care of our material needs, we do not develop the proper attitudes towards developing Shraddha, the real Shraddha. So that deprives us of a possibility of having an eternal relationship of Krishna. But rather it entangles us into taking birth another few million life forms, 8.4 million species. Do we want to go through that? Is that the goal of life? To go through all and say, I've been through 8.4 million species. I've experienced all of them. Actually, it is said that the human form that we have been through 8.4 million species before coming back to the human species. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Giri Govardhan ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chandra, Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Chandra ki jai, Iskcon Guru Vrinda ki jai. So do we want to go back and then come back again and say, let me try it now? There are people like that who say, when their parents say, don't do this, it's not good for you. They say, well, you have lived through your life and you've gone through all that and you've experienced, why do you deny me that? But the Vedic scriptures say that is second class or third class intelligence. First class intelligence is when you hear from the scripture and scripture says, don't do that. Or when your parents say, I have heard in the scripture that this is not good for you, don't do it, then you should say, okay, I will not do it. Shruti Praman, proved by Vedic quotations. One should have that faith that the Shrutis will never lie. Do we have that confidence? We have less confidence because we are more entangled with material nature. Therefore, even the confidence cannot be built up naturally. Over and over again, we try to understand material nature, but actually we are supposed to understand the spiritual aspect of our own nature. And the only way we can do that is that we have to get together and sing praise to the Lord, sing praise to His saints, saintly devotees, have gatherings, discussions of the nature that will purify us. So you will see as this discussion goes, Sukadeva Goswami explains that this particular question that Parikshit Maharaj asked about Brahman was already discussed millennia ago. Not only in this planet, it was discussed in another universe, upper planetary system, in Janaloka. They were discussing the same thing. How can you talk about something that is transcendental using mundane words? But it's not like that. By applying the concepts of the material nature, one becomes actually closer, or one enters one's intelligence into the meditation of the Supreme Lord. One brings that intelligence into the connection of the Lord. And the Lord, as is stated in the previously, He thinks, the Lord thinks, these devotees are meditating on me. He's thinking like that. As soon as you start contemplating based on what the scripture says, you are actually using your vital energy, prana, your life force, into concentrating on who this personality is. You're trying to conceive of Him in your own consciousness. And that liberates you. That purifies us, brings us closer to Krishna. In the fledgling stage, we may not give importance to such statements here. And that's another reason why we don't really go into deep into the 10th canto and so on, because we don't really perform our devotional activities in the seriousness that is being discussed by the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada and so on. Prabhupada says you can go back to Godhead in this very lifetime. And then my Guru Maharaj also was saying, you can go back, and then in one class he laughed and he said, but then most of you are not serious enough. Or you don't want to give the time. He said, you are not serious enough. Another important point that has been brought up is that Sukadeva Goswami says, these statements that I am telling you, Parikshit, is not my words. These are from the previous acharyas and so on. I'm just repeating them. That's another important point for us to understand, that whatever Srila Prabhupada gave us is not something he concocted through his mental speculation. Whatever he is presenting to us is based on what he heard, Shruti, from his predecessors. And they work, because he himself has gone through it. All right, someone can say he is a pure devotee. No, but he showed us how he went through it. The experiences that Srila Prabhupada went through in his 60-odd years before he came to the West is real. It's tangible. And he's showing us, if we also concentrate and focus as he did, you will also get the tangible results. You must get it. That's what it is. Of course, the ultimate thing is you should get the result, but the result is not for you to claim just because you say, I've chanted 60 years, 16 rounds, therefore, Krishna, you have to take me back. You can pray like that, but then Krishna is Swarat. Means he is independent. He doesn't have to take you back. He can decide when to take you back. You may be qualified from all points of view, but it is his mercy. Ultimately, he will decide. Nah. Or he'll say yes, sure. But the best way to get his mercy is actually through the service of the spiritual masters or devotees. Try to help one another in becoming a better devotee. Now that's the key actually. How do you know that? Because in the last part of the 18th chapter, what does Krishna tell Arjuna? Those who explain this knowledge to my devotees are considered very dear to me. Yeah. And so therefore we have to help each other. I mean, it's very rare. Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhe yatatam abhisiddhanam kaschin ma vidi tadvataha. To come to the stage of accepting the existence of the Supreme Lord, it's very rare. One goes through many lifetimes also. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanamam mam prabhadyante. Out of so many people, Vasudevam Sarvamiti, Samahatma Sudurlabha, very rare also. So many thousands of people out there, 7 billion population. How many people are really searching about the truth concerning the Supreme Person? Right? Very few. And when you go out on books, right? Most people are not really interested. They are thinking you are a burden. and very subtly they know that if they take our books, all their enjoyment, their false enjoyment goes out the window. It's a subtle thing. Therefore, they try to tell you off. But if you show mercy, so again this point comes in, the mercy. Again, when you show mercy, you're actually helping them develop faith, Shraddha. It is that which you are doing, because Shraddha, to come to the point of pure, perfect Shraddha, to take or surrender to Krishna, takes millions of lifetimes, actually. So when we go out there, and then when we want to give, our heart should be so open, and we should be convinced, I want to help this person. Then the potency is going through you. You become the via media, the transparent via media for the mercy of the Lord, which comes through the Guru Parampara. It is there. It is there for our taking, but how we use it determines our progression in our Krishna consciousness. The way that Shukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj are churning, you can say that, churning the ocean of nectar, is for us, at any one point in the Bhagavatam, when you pick it up, it is for us to then awaken our consciousness and our determination to connect with the Supreme Person. They are trying their best. Even though it may seem like a conversation, even though it may seem like some storytelling, but at all times, remember this, what did Parikshit Maharaj ask? What should a person do at the time of death? And okay, we'll just stick with that. So Shukadev Goswami is allowing him and the audience to know what is most essential, most important. Why would anyone want to hear a story and say, oh, that was a good story, I'll die now? Doesn't make sense, actually, isn't it? Any logical person, why would anyone want to do? There are better things to do than just listen to some story. No, it is to awaken our true self. The meaning becomes, our life's meaning becomes real when we understand that we are actually an eternal being. Mostly we fail to understand that, and therefore we go on this a long journey, a surgeon, dragging ourselves day in and day out, trying to eke some pleasure here and there, Somehow we are hoping to find, but the real pleasure, Krishna says, is with him. The true, how do we know that? Take the example of Dhruva Maharaj, right? He wanted material things so badly, more than Lord Brahma's existence. He demanded from the Supreme Lord. As soon as the Lord appeared, he felt like a fool. Because it just overwhelmed him, overwhelmed his senses, his mind and intellect. He realized, what a fool I am. Here is reality, and I'm asking for something that is temporary. He felt so bad. So again, for us to even feel like that, we have to have some mercy, some level of desire actually to want to go back to Godhead. It's not so much as saying, yes, I took initiation, yes, I've shown my desire, but showing desire is more than that. Just like Prabhupada says, how do you show your love to someone? You do so many things for them. Whatever they ask, you say, yes, I will do it for you. Do you want this? You want that? I want to do it for you. Then the person will know that for some reason this person likes me and want to do these things for me. Such an awakening has to arise in our heart, which means we have to work on our Shraddha. How to work on Shraddha? Read Prabhupada's books, go out on distribution of books, go out on prasadam distribution, preach to people, meaning give them the understanding of their existence is not independent of a Supreme Personality of Godhead who is real. How do they know? They may not understand. Give them the books. Read, quote some stories and say, the Lord did this and so on. Do you know about our creation? So you've heard about the scientist's creation, but what about our creation? Do you understand how our way of creation begins? Let me tell you, because it's an interesting topic. Mostly in society, they actually do not even discuss anything to do from the Bhagavatam at all. If at all, they will go up to the Quran and the Buddhists, or the Buddhists actually. If anything to do with Hindu, they go up to the Buddhists, but never the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have the knowledge, but because we don't know how to give it to the people outside, we find that there's a lot of false knowledge going around, or knowledge that is not really realized or properly understood in society. So yeah, the Upanishads, the Vedas are all there, and they do describe the Supreme Lord, but we are not ready to understand with our material senses. We need to be able to free it, become spiritual, and in that way we can then understand this Supreme Lord. So you can see in the next few pages the prayers of the personified Vedas actually point to Krishna. And the Acharyas, as I said earlier, they are so expert in unpacking all these words. But we don't have to. They've already done it. We don't have to. We just have to accept it. I'll stop here. Comments, questions, corrections. Yes, Prabhu.
It's going to be a little difficult. I don't know how to phrase it. I'm going to try. So I'm going to try to phrase this question. It's been on my mind. So in the previous verse, the last sentence, verse 2 says, thus it is concluded that the Vedas have access to the personal identity of the Supreme.
Personal identity.
Of the Supreme only by His mercy.
Yes.
So, so it's, on one side, in this purport also it is said that, like you just finished your class saying that the material senses we have to become spiritualized. So at some point, just like Arjuna was able to see the universal form, Krishna said that you cannot have this vision, I have to give you some special vision to...
That's the mercy.
That's the mercy.
Yeah.
So through our material senses, we have eyes, ears, everything, the senses. Although it's limited now, Krishna can extend those senses so we can see the spiritual.
Yes.
Yeah. So my question is that, we talked about sadhana bhakti, and we know that nitya siddha, there's kripa siddhi, different kind of how devotees can go back to Krishna at different levels. So when we do sadhana bhakti, and you also mentioned that spiritual master's mercy would enable this kind of that what Krishna can do, the spiritual master also can do in a way where, like we said, these verses have words in them, although material. It sounds material, but they can open up a different dimension that mercy should be there. So sadhana bhakti is emphasized, that we have to do sadhana bhakti. And that's the preferred way of going back to Krishna at least in this Kali Yuga. That's what maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I heard. But on the other side, we have in Prataprabhupada, King Prataprabhuda's son, as prince, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just embraced him and he went back to Godhead. He didn't do any sadhana bhakti. Actually, he was a normal, regular prince. So the question I had,
Who's going to come and hug you and take you back to Godhead?
not that the sadhana bhakti, when we are waiting and it's just, is there a way that we could perceive something that is happening to us? Like the question is, how do I know the spiritual, like these
The mercy is there.
The mercy is
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It's on the other hand, you see some devotees really get the mercy. I've seen
Yes.
it, like even in our sampradaya,
Yeah.
there are devotees who get that, and I see they are so fixed up, just because their association maybe, like Kalpatra Mataji here, with Giriraj Swami Maharaj association, I could see.
Yes.
Like I have seen her before she got initiated. I've seen her now, and there is gulf of difference, and it just makes her more grounded.
Fixed.
You see, so that's the thing that, on the other side, I see myself and compare myself and say, oh, I have to do a lot of work, so there's something missing, that mercy. Like, so the question I had was, I don't have a problem performing this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But, this kind of, this mercy that would come, I don't even associate with my spiritual master so much. I probably hear with him. So is that sufficient enough that it would, at some point, if not now, will open up that mercy and give me the opportunity to progress or go, even if it's not in this lifetime, but some lifetime at least, that could happen. So, it's a very twisted, complicated question.
No, it's not twisted or complicated. It's very straightforward. The mercy will come. You also asked, how do you know that you are getting the mercy? In our sadhana bhakti, in our day-to-day devotional practices, how do you feel? Do you feel happy doing it? Do you feel it to be a labor? Do you feel it to drag you down? If you have those feelings, then you're not really getting the mercy, or you are actually executing it incorrectly. But if you look forward to every day to come to the temple, to chant with the devotees in the kirtans and so on, then yes, you are getting the mercy. Now, as to when we go back to Godhead, as I mentioned earlier, it's not for us to say. It is up to the Lord to decide, Having said that, I know for a fact that Radhanath Swami says his instructions are in his classes and lectures, and that's the way he connects with his disciples. So each disciple, if they are very carefully listening to the spiritual master's classes, they will find there are messages hidden in the classes particularly for them. And when they realize that, they'll get great happiness that the Lord, through the spiritual master, is still guiding them and has not denied them access. Okay? Yeah. Yes. I'm not sure if that helps or not. Okay. Yeah. Or the other way you can do is you hug every devotee, and the one that makes you feel most happy, Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it works, right? Yeah. So you find happiness in that. I think devotees, if they like each other, you should hug. But don't overly hug them until people don't want to run away from you. Okay. Yeah.
Isn't it true that the fact that being here, listening to all this knowledge, getting a guru, looking at the deity, doing service, all this is mercy to me?
Excellent answer. Yeah. Yes. Vishal, the cowherd boy.
Hare Krishna, just a question and a comment. You said most of us are not serious. So I fall into that category. I'm not very serious. And so what's a good way to become serious?
It depends on your association. For most of us, because we associate with the wrong thing, that determines our choices. So if you associate with the devotees, and I see you associate with the brahmacharis, so you should be developing seriousness. It may take a while because sometimes the cleansing process will need a double wash or triple wash. So then the cloth is cleaner. So in that way, you maintain that association with the devotees and the services you're doing. I guarantee you will find taste and happiness in that and make right choices. Yeah.
And then I got just a comment, or I guess yesterday's purport, the last line of the first paragraph, it says, compassion is his sole motive. So on Thursday, the boys went out to U of H to distribute the holy name books and prasad, because compassion was their sole motive.
Yeah.
So like, I want to know if you have any realizations, or, you want to share something? Because I missed it. I was sleeping. I missed it. I heard it was ecstatic. So please, if you want to share something.
Oh, yeah. The devotee should share if you have. Some unique exchange, honest Doug or gentle Doug.
Yeah, so first off, it was a particularly special day because it was the appearance day of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. So going out, I had the mentality of this is going to be a great sacrifice to bring pleasure to him, and in that consciousness, it was just every interaction, even if we didn't have that many amazing interactions with students. Most students were just in a big hurry and rushing by us, but it was very special. Every book that went out was just particularly
Sweet.
Yeah. And also we had a Pranita Karuna with us as well. He and Abai Prabhu were doing the Harinam pretty much the entire time. So there was just this amazing energy that was just inspiring us to go. It was seeing the waves of people. When we don't have the Harinam, sometimes it becomes intimidating because there's these people just rushing past and it's really busy and you're like, oh my goodness, it's intense.
Yeah.
But when you have that, even I would feel that, but then I would hear that wave and the energy would just pick me up again and I would just rush into the crowd and be waving people down and speaking to them. So it was a really successful and really powerful day.
Wow, very nice. Thank you. Yeah, I would say that it was your positive attitude that you took up that grew because you went and the Lord gave you the mercy. Yeah. Right? If you have a negative attitude and want to go out on books, then you'll see the Lord reacts in the way that you want to be. Right? If you want to be negative, then He'll be negative to you. Yeah, so that's very nice. Yeah. Prana, you want to say something about your ecstasy?
Well, I think in the context of Krishna's mercy on us, I very much appreciate the Sankirtan Yogya because it is really a concession to the fallen conditioned souls, not only those who are getting the holy name and books and prasadam out there, but myself, because I know what you mean, Prabhu. I mean, it seems like, when am I going to be purified? When is this ever going to, it seems like it's getting worse. Most of us, but not like that. I know, yeah. Well, many of the, so I feel that way. But whenever I go out on Sankirtan, I feel like I'm actually engaging in the Lord's service, it's not just a feeling, it is the truth. And so, since it is the truth, then I get that feeling of bliss, what a concession that any day, any time, anywhere, I can grab Prabhupada's books, grab some mantra cards, and just be nice to people. Try to get them to take a book, get them to chant the mantra, give them some prasadam. It's basically the highest thing there is to do, and the most fallen persons can immediately engage in it. So that's a huge concession and just such a big mercy that no matter what happens, we can always do that program and provide the highest mercy for ourselves and others. So that's just my reflection, I guess. It was very nice on that day. It was very cold. It was freezing. It was windy and cold, and that just was a nice added effect.
You know, I don't know if you all know, there's a devotee I know, Srila Prabhupada disciple, a good friend of mine, Bhrigupati Prabhu, you know. He's been doing books since Srila Prabhupada's time, you know, and he's now almost 70, I believe, you know. Still goes out, and he's always happy. He's happy. And he's not thinking, am I going to get the mercy or not? He's thinking, I have the mercy. That's how he is. So, you know, it's a positive personality, and so it's good to have association like that, you know. Because if you think too much like, I'm fallen, you tend to not get up and do things, you know. There's that tendency. So therefore, one should see the positive aspect of it, saying that I got the mercy, you know, I really have the mercy because I'm connected to this Guru Parampara. I cannot go wrong. If I don't act on it, then I'll make mistakes. So that is the mood one should have. And then build on it, build on it.
One party.
Okay, you want to say
This
something?
is just so, this chapter is so mystical, it's that we see that it's all in English, Prabhupada wrote, translated in English, but in your experience you think, say if you are very versed in Sanskrit, and people reading Sanskrit, they'll have a different kind of impact while reading it, digesting it?
Yes and no. Yes, if they are devotees. No, if they are just scholars. So as a devotee, one should be very careful reading using Sanskrit also, because Sanskrit is it's a language that can reveal many aspects. And in one sentence, the word, for example, you know, sarira and dehe, you know, the both means the body, but the context, the emphasis is different on both. But unless as a devotee, you will know why it's emphasized this way and that way. If you're a scholar, you can find faults in Srila Prabhupada's translations or anyone's translation. Or that's one aspect. The other aspect is, as a devotee, if you think you are very good at Sanskrit, then you will think, I know better, I know how to talk, I know how to speak. Then the goal is not to know how to talk, the goal is how to please Krishna and the devotees. So those, it has positive and negative things. I will say this, when Hridayananda Maharaj wanted to study Sanskrit and he wanted to go to the university, Srila Prabhupada told him, why you have to go to university? You read my books, you will know Sanskrit. And then later on he went to MIT, Harvard, and he got Sanskrit PhD in Sanskrit. And he based it all on Srila Prabhupada's books,
Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu, in some of his classes, he mentions that how the language itself helped him. I mean, he's very humble. I mean,
but he's a humble soul who follows Prabhupada. He's a devotee. So the language allowed him to open and give us access into the Acharya's discussions. So that's why he is able to do that, not you and I, you know, we are not capable in that way.
It does open up different dimensions.
That's right.
In that language.
And opening up dimension means what? How we connecting with Krishna, how to connect, how to relate to Krishna and the devotees. Not to know, oh, I know this special story. Who cares? You know, it's true. Who cares? At the end of the day, I want to be closer to Krishna, at least 1 foot closer. Not that I know 10 million stories. That, you know, that's not the goal. Okay. So if you can study Sanskrit, go for it, but make sure you connect Krishna with it.
I have no enthusiasm to do it, but I'm just asking because it's
it does help. It does help for devotees, definitely.
It's so very mystical, all these things.
It is. But Prabhupada knew this is the situation. That's why he's given his purports. So we have easy access.
We don't
exactly my point. Shruti, use your intelligence. Prabhupada has already given us. There's no need for us to, There, oftentimes you find sometimes a devotee will look into the Sanskrit and say, this is how this. But then if you read Prabhupada, it's so straightforward. The bottom line Prabhupada says is, surrender to your service and shut up. Very simple. Yes, for devotees who are inclined intellectually, yes. But to be careful, because it tends to go towards mental speculation. Yes, Prabhu.
I like to investigate Prabhupada's purports and translations by
that's okay.
getting into the Sanskrit.
Mm.
And we were doing it as an ashram for some time, but I think it was too much for everyone else. But I really like getting into the grammar of Bhagavad Gita and looking at each shloka. And what I found was almost every single time, if there was like some subtle thing that the way the shloka is, one word or two words, could have two different meanings, Prabhupada always included it in the purport.
In the purports, yes.
He didn't come out and say it. Sometimes he does. Yes. Sometimes he says this word here.
Yes.
But Prabhupada, he was more than a scholar in Sanskrit. I mean, he was the topmost scholar in Sanskrit. So he actually was seeing all these meanings and just putting them in the purports for easy understanding. Now, someone who maybe wants to analyze it to get that faith and think, well, is Prabhupada getting everything? It's true, actually, Prabhupada got everything. So you're not lacking anything, but if you kind of need to pacify your intelligence,
that's
it seems.
That's a good point, yeah. Actually, one devotee told me that. He said the translation, some words, Prabhupada actually didn't even translate correctly, he said. He said Prabhupada used the translation of a previous verses and then he put it there. And then he said the actual translation, Prabhupada put it in the purport. And he said that was fascinating in one point. Because he's a devotee, he accepted that. But he said others who are not so inclined, they will find fault in that. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
There will eternally be discussions regarding the authenticity of Sanskrit, because Vedic Sanskrit, as you started off your class, is not known, period. It's just not, because Vedic Sanskrit is written in such a way, it requires realization to comprehend. Srila Prabhupada, as far as I can see, in researching our entire history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism and Vaishnavism in general, and I've read interesting books and histories and things that happened in India, was specifically empowered to make the Vedas available to everyone on this planet who simply accept Prabhupada's decisions and his empowerment to preach in faith all the realizations required to be delivered for each individual person will manifest in the heart, and you will, in fact, be delivered. Until you have that faith, you will simply question and question and question and question. And you know what? One other thing I've noticed is that you cannot edit out of Srila Prabhupada's books that ability to receive that mercy of realization no matter what. So the argument of Prabhupada's authenticity is done and finished and over in everyone's heart. If you give in to that, you will go back to Godhead in this life, because Prabhupada promised that. If we gave this whole one life, just made a decision, give this one life to spreading Krishna consciousness, he said that Bhaktivinoda Thakur will personally come and get us. So, this discussion will go on forever, and I can add lots of interesting things to it. Won't make any difference. It just won't make any difference.
Thank you very much. With that, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Take prasadam, chant Hare Krishna, and dance for Krishna. You'll get it.